News is the fact that we have just learned here at CNN that CNN has been blocked from a White House gaggle. Gaggle, essentially informal gathering of reporters, print, radio, television coming together to be briefed, in this case, by the White House. The White House daily briefing not happening today. And traditionally, and you've seen the pictures, lots of reporters are included in that. This is so incredibly significant because this has never happened in this administration. Not only is CNN blocked, other organizations blocked, the New York Times, the LA Times, and Politico. Apparently, the White House Correspondents Association is protesting. And as we're getting more information, just a little bit of context, as we've been taking CPAC, this conservative conference in Washington, D.C., we heard from the president this morning, and he doubled down on his tweet from just a couple of days ago, essentially saying the media is the enemy of the American people. His chief strategist this time yesterday calling the media the opposition party over and over. Let's talk through this. I have Sarah Murray first joining me, one of our White House correspondents. And so, Sarah Murray, why aren't we there?
That is a great question, Brooke. We lined up. We were told there was a list ahead of time, which is sort of abnormal, but we put our name on the list. And then when we went to enter, I was blocked by a White House staffer who said we were not on the list for this gaggle today. Now, normally, if you were going to do something like this, an extended gaggle off camera, you would have one person from each news outlet. As you know, we have multiple people from CNN here every day. So if you're going to do something beyond a pool, which is sort of the smallest group of reporters that then disseminates the information, you would have one person from every news outlet. That is not what the White House was doing today. What the White House was doing was hand-picking the outlets they wanted in for this briefing. So Breitbart, the Washington Times, One America News Network, news outlets that maybe the White House feels are more favorable were all allowed in, whereas I was blocked from entering, Politico was blocked from entering, the New York Times, the LA Times, all of these news outlets were blocked from going to a gaggle. And Brooke, as you pointed out, on a normal day-to-day basis, this would be an on-camera, on-the-record briefing in the White House briefing room where anyone at any of these news outlets would have a chance to be called on and to answer a question. It's pretty clear that that is not what the White House wanted to do today, and they wanted to just select maybe news outlets that would be more favorable, which I do have to say I think is kind of unfortunate, Brooke, because when you think about the list of priorities that the president was ticking through earlier today, he was talking about serious immigration matters at CPAC. He was talking about serious tax reform, serious healthcare matters, things that our viewers really care about. And when we go into those briefings, that's an opportunity to ask questions about any number of news stories of the day. And today it's clear they did not want CNN to be involved in that.
The story that CNN broke about the FBI and the White House talking when they absolutely shouldn't have been because of this investigation. So this is not okay. Go ahead, Sarah.
Well, and that's the other thing is, the White House is clearly incensed over this excellent CNN reporting about conversations between the White House chief of staff and senior officials in the FBI. In fact, senior administration officials held a gaggle here this morning for almost 45 minutes discussing it. The odds that that story is not yet coming up again, that those Russian contacts are not yet coming up again, are very slim, and yet they've decided to exclude CNN, the news organization that broke that story, from this gaggle, which is also, of course, disconcerting.
Sarah Murray, don't go too far. I may come back to you. Let me bring in Jeff Mason, the president of the White House Correspondents Association, who I mentioned off the top. They are protesting this whole thing. This is not okay, is what I keep hearing myself think when I'm just learning this, like the rest of us. Jeff Mason, what did the White House tell you all? Why is this happening?
Well, we're still getting information about that. They clearly wanted to have a gaggle that was not on camera and that was not the full press corps today. We don't object to there being briefings like that aren't always on camera, but we have encouraged them when they want to do something like that, which is a gaggle, as you explained at the top, that they still do it in the press room and do it in a place where all reporters have a chance to ask questions. So we've made that clear, and we're going to continue to have discussions with them about that, and we're not happy with how this happened today.
So tell me a little bit more about what we know. So Sarah mentioned some of the organizations who were allowed to attend the gaggle, Breitbart, Conservative Times, and I understand some organizations are boycotting, like they could have been part of the gaggle, but because of what the White House is doing, they didn't go.
Yeah, I don't want to speak for other organizations. All I can speak for in this context right now is the Correspondents Association book. And as I said, we've been in touch with the White House for the last a good hour about this and working to make sure that something like this does not happen again.
Okay, Jeff, let me keep you on the phone. I've got Dylan Byers sitting next to me. There are organizations who are boycotting this.
There are. What we have so far is the Associated Press and Time Magazine. What you can imagine happened, Spicer held this gaggle. Certain organizations were told they couldn't attend. Certain media outlets, at least the Associated Press and Time, decided they weren't going to stand for that and then left the gaggle. I have to say this is extraordinarily troubling. By the way, I understand every White House administration's frustration with the press. The press doesn't always get it right. I understand the strategic effort here to demonize the media and why that plays well with the president's base. But when you get to the point where you are handpicking which media outlets get information from the White House, from the press secretary, from the spokesperson for the White House, that is extremely troubling. That does not speak of American democracy. And in fact, Peter Baker, veteran White House correspondent for the New York Times, tweeted, look, he covered the Clinton administration, Bush administration, Obama administration. He never remembers anything like this happening before.